Good day, viewers. Today we will present to you our research study entitled Case Study Analysis, Ethical Dilemmas in Corporate Governance. This study is presented to you by Ms. Laika Micael Alejandro, Mr. John Duben Resurrection, Ms. Kenneth Salyan, and Ms. Ara Grace Sibuk. Chapter 1, Introduction.
So, in this research, ipapakita namin sa inyo kung paano namin i-analyze yung napili naming 5 real-world examples of ethical dilemmas in corporate governance. But first, let me give you an idea kung ano ba yung mga common ethical dilemma na ma-encounter natin dito. So, syempre, sa loob ng isang management, may mga internal conflicts talaga dyan na nag-a-arise from the tension between profit maximization and ethical conduct. And yun yung pagtutuunan natin ng pansin sa study na to. And also, in this study, may explore natin yung mga issues in transparency, accountability, responsibility, risk management, and impartiality. In the history of the business world, a widely known examples of corporate scandal is yung Enron scandal noong 2001. Isa sa mga issues dito is yung accounting fraud in which they manipulated financial records to mislead investors na mag-invest sa kanila. So to promote a more responsible corporate behavior in the modern business world, we intend to analyze those real-world cases that we are all familiar with. At syempre, kasama din sa mga ipapaliwanag namin dito is yung mga ethical frameworks kung paano ba nakakonstruct yung mga decision-making processes na ginagawa ng mga organizations na pag-uusapan natin.
The study is nakapokus lang siya sa role of ethics in corporate governance and kung ano ba yung mga magiging impact or paano ba ito nakaka-apekto sa transparency, accountability, and overall business success ng company. Ina-highlight rin sa study na to yung risk ng poor ethical decision making and para makapag-provide ng strategies na pwedeng i-adapt ng mga company para mas strengthen yung ethical frameworks nila para ma-maintain yung trust, ensure fairness, and achieve long-term success.
Objectives of the study. Sabi nga ni Panday noong 2023, corporate scandals stem from poor governance, weak oversight, profit-driven decisions, along with external pressures. With this, mas maunawa natin kung paano ba humantong sa ganong kalagayan yung mga real-world examples na tatalakayin natin mamaya sa tulong na rin netong mga specific objectives. Identify key issues. Aalamin natin yung ethical dilemmas in corporate governance for each cases mamaya. Evaluate decision-making processes. Later, in the analysis of collected data, mas maa-assess natin kung ayos ba yung decision-making process na in-integrate ng mga stakeholders for each cases. Analyze stakeholder impact. Dito naman, i-analyze natin yung kung anong naging epekto ng decision-making sa mga stakeholders. Review governance policies. Alamin natin kung in accordance ba sa existing policies yung decisions ng mga stakeholders. Develop actionable solutions. Later in the recommendations, we will propose solutions na pwedeng i-apply na kahit na sino to prevent or avoid experiencing the same issues.
Significant of the project. Bakit nga ba mahalaga yung study na to? Kapag kasi yung business is hindi ethical, maaapektuhan hindi lang yung company, pati na rin yung mga stakeholders. Kaya kailangan natin pag-aralan yung mga ethical dilemmas para mapanatili natin yung trust, accountability, at sustainability sa business. For business leaders, mabibigyan sila ng practical tools at framework para masolusyonan nila yung mga ethical challenges sa corporate governance. Mahirap kasi balansin ang profitability at ethical responsibility, kaya important na may malinaw silang guide. In that way, matututo silang gumawa ng mga ethical decision, hindi lang para sa kanila, pati na rin sa lahat ng apektado. Next is policymakers. Patuloy na nagbabago ang corporate governance laws. We need to ensure na effective yung mga policies para maiwasan natin yung unethical practices. This study provides practical recommendation to enhance transparency, accountability, and ethics in business. Mas malinaw na policies, mas maiwasan natin yung corporate scandals and corruption. Next is stakeholders. Malaking effect ng ethical governance sa trust ng stakeholders. Kapag transparent and responsible yung company sa decision making, mas itibay yung relationship nila sa mga stakeholders, lalo na sa employees. Kaya mahalagang maintindihan natin kung paano naaapektuhan ng ethics yung decision natin, whether as a part of business or as a part of consumers. Next is future researchers. So makakatulong ito sa kanila na palawakin pa yung kaalaman nila about ethical decision making at corporate governance. Ang pag-aaral kasi ng ethics is tuloy-tuloy at ina-adapt natin sa iba't ibang sitwasyon, kaya magiging valuable reference ito para sa mga susunod pang studies sa real-world ethical dilemmas at kung paano nila masusolusyonan ng epektibo.
Sa structure of the project naman po is dito natin makikita lahat ng mga nilalaman at ginawa namin bawat chapter ng case study. Kumbaga, ito yung pinaka-summary ng case study namin para mas madaling maintindihan kung ano ba yung ethical dilemma in corporate governance. Ang purpose nito is para naka-organize yung bawat flow ng information from introduction to references and appendices.
Task assignment. The image shows the assignment of task for this research project. On the upper left corner are the tasks assigned to Ms. Laika Micaela Alejandro. On the upper right corner are tasks assigned to me, Mr. Jan Nobel Resurrection. On the bottom left corner are the tasks assigned to Ms. Kenneth Salyan. And lastly, on the bottom right corner are the tasks assigned to Ms. Ara Grace Sibuk. The tasks, despite being assigned to a specific person, are monitored by yours truly, and we also integrate an in-depth collaboration upon working on the task to ensure that the project will proceed smoothly. Chapter 2. Discussion of key concepts.
Definition of terms naman po is nakapokus lang ito sa pinaka-most mentioned sa case study namin. Tsaka para mas maintindihan yung pinaka-meaning niya, since lagi siyang nababasa or nakikita sa research paper. Una is yung corporate governance. Ito yung nag-guide sa organization's leadership in making ethical and effective decisions. Decision making naman is ito yung proseso natin ng pagpili ng best action based sa mga naging option. Yung ethical dilemma naman is nangyayari when a person or organization must choose between two conflicting moral principles, wherein yung option is pwedeng tama or mali. According to Bensla 2023, yung PLUS Ethical Framework is sinutulungan niya yung mga individuals and organizations na ma-ensure that their choices are ethical, fair, and responsible. So yung P for policies, para lang siya sa pag-reduce ng mga risk sa internal conflicts and policy violations. L for legal, dito naman is para ma-prevent yung mga legal consequences and ensuring accountability. U for universal, sinasabi lang dito na dapat ina-ensure yung fairness and consistency across different scenarios. S for self, ina-ensure lang dito na yung mga decision makers is comfortable with the choice on moral and ethical level.
So here in Figure 2, the 4 key pillars na ayon kay Madzogo 2024 is epektibong na susuportahan daw nito yung corporate governance. First is the accountability. Ito yung pagiging responsable natin sa mga action at decision na ginagawa natin. Which is good, di ba? Kasi it promotes ethical conduct. Second is transparency. Tinitiyak naman dito yung malinaw na financial and business operation. Kumbaga, it provides an accurate and timely information sa stakeholders na, syempre, nagpo-foster ng trust and open communication. Third, yung responsibility. Nakatuon to sa epekto ng lipunan at kapaligiran. What I mean about this is, dito sa responsibility, and na-emphasize yung commitment ng isang company sa positive impact nila through social and environmental. Which is a success, di ba? Kasi nagko-contribute ito ng long-term sustainability sa kanila. And last, the fairness. Siyempre, from the word itself, fair, patas or pantay. Pantay dapat ang pagtrato sa lahat ng stakeholders regardless sa kanilang position or influence. Dapat meron tayong equitable treatment. So, when these 4 pillars work together, ano sa tingin nyo yung mabibuild natin? Yung ma-enhance. Siyempre, we can build the trust. We can enhance the relationship sa mga stakeholders. And itong mga to can ultimately contribute to the company's long-term viability.
Ayon kay AWA et al. 2024, yung CSR is Corporate Social Responsibility. Commitment siya ng isang company na mag-operate na may positive impact sa society at environment. Ibig sabihin, hindi lang ito tungkol sa profit, kundi pati sa responsibility ng stakeholders. Sa diagram, makikita natin yung resource exchange. It means kung nagbibigay yung company ng value sa society, tulad ng sustainable practices at fair labor policies, nakakatanggap din sila ng suporta, gaya ng mga customer loyalty at good reputation. Kapag hindi sinunod yung CSR, possible na magkaroon ng unethical practices tulad ng exploitation ng workers, environmental harm, at misleading marketing. Yung stakeholders theory naman is nagsasabing hindi lang stakeholders or shareholders yung dapat na isinaalang-alang natin sa decision making, kundi pati na rin yung mga employees, customers, suppliers, communities, at government. Nagkakaroon kasi ng ethical dilemmas kapag masyadong profit-driven yung isang company dahil naapektuhan yung ibang stakeholders.
So for this last figure naman, makikita ninyo yung mga ethical challenges. This is from Paris work. In-outline niya itong 4 na common ethical challenges sa business, which is the conflicts of interest, honesty and integrity, whistleblowing, and loyalty versus truth. So let's start first sa conflict of interest. So nag-a-arise ito kapag yung mga personal interest or gains natin nakaka-impluensya pagdating sa decision making na ginagawa natin. Sa honesty and integrity naman, ito yung pagiging matapat natin sa negosyo. Na-emphasize dito yung ethical behavior even when facing pressure to act otherwise. Third is the whistleblowing. Ito yung pag may mga napansin or nakita kang unethical practices, kunwari sa workplace nyo, you will report it kahit na pwede itong mag-lead ng potential personal repercussions sa'yo. And lastly, the loyalty versus truth. So, tinitimbang dito or binabalanse yung katapatan ng isang employee pagdating sa mga ethical considerations. So, itong apat na to is nag-represent ng mga situations kung saan yung ethical principles is natetest sa isang business na mayroong pressures and personal incentives. Kumbaga, it's required din sa mga individuals to make a responsible and ethical sound choices.
Chapter 3. Data Gathering. For case study, we intend to analyze 5 real-world case study of corporate scandals and propose solutions to prevent them. Case study number 1, the ABS-CBN shutdown controversy. May 2020, kasagsagan ng pandemic kung saan yung mga tao nasa loob lang ng bahay at nakatutok lang sa TV o cellphone. Pina-shutdown ng NTC ang ABS-CBN kasi paso na yung prangkisa nila. Gusto ng ABS-CBN mag-renew ng franchise, kaso hindi pumayag ang NTC. Bakit? Kasi may dilabag daw na batas ang ABS-CBN with regards to labor law. Yung issue dito is about sa hindi pagpapasweldo or delay ng sweldo sa mga employees nila. Foreign ownership restriction kasi mas malaking percentage na foreign ang owner kaysa Pinoy. At unauthorized pay-per-view operations. Yung sa TV Plus dati, yung ma-access mo yung exclusive channels nila kapag nag-load ka. Also, that time, medyo naging mainit din palitan nila kay Duterte. May political ad kasi si Duterte noon na hindi inere ng ABS-CBN. Mga usapin about sa pagiging biased media, isa din yun sa binabato sa ABS-CBN. And dahil nga involved si Duterte dito, kaya, in a different light, it seems na it is an attack to press freedom o kalayaan na magpahayag. Ayan, napakita ko na yung side ng ABS-CBN at ng gobyerno that time. Mamaya sa data analysis, titimbangin natin yan. Case study number 2, PBBM orders immediate ban against all PH POGO operations. 2024, last year, nung tinotal ban na ang POGO sa Pinas. Most POGO kasi is involved sa financial scams. Some tech scams, POGO rin nasa likod niyan eh. Money laundering. In the surface kasi pinapalabas nila na legal yung operations nila, pero may mga witnesses na nagsisilabasan at ina-expose yung tunay na ginagawa sa loob ng ilang POGO operators. And human trafficking. May mga victims din na rescue sa loob ng POGO Hub na baldado na yung kalagayan and nag-testify na hindi sila pinapayagan na umuwi sa mga pamilya nila. Despite that, yung total ban ng POGO sa Pinas also affected the businesses ng mga POGO operators na hindi naman nag-engage sa criminal activities. And yung mga employees din ng mga yon, nawalan ng trabaho. So ayun, binan ang lahat ng POGO sa Pinas as a countermeasure sa mga illegal POGO operators.
Case number 3, Smartmatic bribery scandal in the Philippines. From 2015 to 2018, Smartmatic executive, lalo na si Roger Alejandro Martinez, is inakusahan ng panunuhol kay Juan Andres Bautista, dating official ng Philippine Election Commission. Yung purpose nila is makakuha ng kontrata para sa voting machine sa 2016 election. Sa investigasyon, nagbayad sila ng higit $1 million gamit yung over-invoicing, slash fund and money laundering para maitago yung transaction sa Asia, Europe, and Florida. So, naging big deal to dahil election-related nga, nagdulot ito ng concern sa integrity ng Philippine election. Kung mabibili yung election officials, paano natin masisigurado na walang dayaan? Sa legal side, na-charge yung ilang executive sa US under the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act or tinatawag nating FCPA na nagbabawal ng panunuhol sa foreign officials. Smartmatic denies direct involvement. Sinasabi na mga executive lang yung dapat na managot. Kaya nagkaroon sila ng debate kung company-wide liability ba or individual lang. So yun nangyari, na-indict sila sa executive ng US para sa bribery money laundering. Tinanggal sila ng Smartmatic pero giit ng company, walang election fraud na nangyari. Bribery lang, hindi vote tampering. So sa data analysis, mas makikita pa natin kung ano yung naging epekto nito sa public trust and transparency ng government.
Noong 2023, nagsagawa ng investigation ng BSP or Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas matapos nila makatanggap ng balita na may ghost employee sa payroll na 2 member ng Monetary Board. Nalaman nila na 4 ang peking employee at 2 supervisor. Kaya noong March 2024, nagfile ng administrative disciplinary cases yung BSP. By July 2024 naman is tinanggal na sa trabaho yung 4 na members dahil sa dishonesty, misconduct, and absenteeism nila. Bilang parusa, makakancel na yung mga benefits na pwede nilang matanggap and disqualified na din sila from holding a public public positions and from taking a civil service exam. Dahil sa iskandalo na nangyari, nagsubmit na ng resignation letter yung 2 member ng Monetary Board noong June 2024. Despite of what happened, BSP ensured that their operations function normally. And yung commitment nila sa integrity, accountability at gumagawa rin sila ng mga paraan kung paano maiwasan yung mga ganitong pangyayari in the future. Target nilang tapusin yung investigation sa October 2024 para mas ma-maintain nila yung trust ng institution at mas maayos na pag-manage ng public resources.
Okay, so moving forward, isa sa mga naging controversy din itong sa pagitan ng TVJ, Tito Vic at Joey at Tape Inc. So it was 2023 nung nangyari itong controversy between TVJ and Tape Inc. Back then, nung mag-retire si Tony Tuviera, yung matagal ng producer ng programa, lumitaw na yung mga alitan sa pagitan ng TVJ and Tape Inc. One of the reasons is tatanggalin na daw ang TVJ sa Itbulaga kasi matatanda na daw sila. It is according to Vic Soto, kung napanood niyo yung Tony Talks, sinabi niya ito doon. So syempre, nag-result ito sa pag-alis ng TVJ sa Tape Inc. at paghahabol nila sa legal na pagmamayari ng Itbulaga trademark. The issue revolved around trademark ownership and commercial rights of the long-running show Itbulaga, kung kaya't nagdulot din ng matinding pagtatalo sa kaso na to over sa copyright at unfair competition. But of course, in the end, nagpasya naman yung Intellectual Property Office of the Philippines or IPOPHL yung pabor sa TVJ, which invalidates the ownership of Tape Inc. to trademark. Additionally, pinahintulutan din ng TVJ na pwede nila i-relaunch ang Itbulaga sa ibang network, while nagpatuloy naman ng Tape Inc. sa pagpapalabas ng kanilang sariling version ng programa gamit ang ibang pangalan.
Secondary data collection. We use the revised Code of Corporate Governance as our secondary data source. The Security and Exchange Commission in 2009 presented this revised Code of Corporate Governance, which is a set of guidelines established to ensure that the companies in the Philippines will operate in accordance to ethical standards. Ginamit lang namin tong legal document na ito for us to be able to understand yung mga terminologies and concepts related to corporate governance. Kumbaga, ito yung ginamit naming dictionary. Data presentation, dito namin nilagay yung codes na nakalap namin for each cases in order to support our study. Case 1, sabi ng ABS-CBN, we are deeply hurt that ABS-CBN was ordered to shut down, but we remain committed to serving Filipinos through our digital platforms. Totoo naman to. Yung free TV broadcast lang naman kasi ng ABS-CBN yung na-shutdown. Pwede pa rin sila mag-operate through digital platforms. And the tempo naman na pandemic that time and na-sustain pa rin yung demand ng tao sa service ng ABS-CBN. Hanggang sa dumating nga sa puntong to na inadapt natin ng GMA yung ABS-CBN services. Sabi naman ng National Telecommunication Commission, the law is clear. Without a congressional franchise, ABS-CBN cannot continue its broadcast operations. Well, sinasabi lang naman dito na yung pag-shutdown sa free TV broadcast ng ABS-CBN is legal kasi nga, they fail to what? Pay the franchise fee. Case 2. PBBM states that the social cost outweigh the economic benefits. The crimes linked to POGOs cannot be ignored. Ibig sabihin lang nito na kaya siya nagpatupad ng total ban is because masyado na tayong naapektuhan ng mga krimen na nalilink sa POGO. Sabi naman ng economic advisor, this decision will affect many workers and businesses dependent on POGO operations, but we must prioritize national security and economic stability. So ayun na nga, maraming maapektuhan sa total ban ng POGO. May mga mawawalan ng trabaho and yung mga owner naman ng POGO na wala namang kinalaman sa crime-related activities, mawawalan din ng negosyo.
Sa case number 3 naman, ayon sa US Department of Justice, these charges reflect our commitment to fighting corruption and ensuring election integrity worldwide. Ibig sabihin, seryoso yung US government sa paglaban sa korupsyon, lalo na sa election. Malaking issue kasi yung bribery ng Smartmatic executive dahil anumang illegal ang ipag-impluensya sa election process is banta na yon sa integrity. And the other side naman, sabi ng Smartmatic as a company was not involved and no fraud in election process has been alleged. Ibig sabihin, inaangkin nilang isolated case yon and hindi company policies. Mahalaga rin yung sinabi nila na walang ebidensya ng election fraud. Ibig sabihin, may bribery pero walang dayaan ng actual voting result ng 2016 elections.
Sa statement number 1 na, totoong in-acknowledge ng BSP yung allegations about ghost employee at nangako sila na magsasagawa ng proper investigations about sa issue. These statements reassure the public that the institution is taking steps to maintain transparency and good governance. Sa second statement naman, if mapatunayan na totoo yung scandal about ghost employee, maaaring maapektuhan or bumaba yung tiwala nila sa BSP about sa pagmamanage ng financial. And if nangyari yun, pwedeng bumaba ang confidence sa mga investors at yung concern about corruption within government agencies. Hina-highlight rito kung gaano kahalaga ang integrity sa mga financial institutions para ma-maintain ang economic stability.
We are Itbulaga. It's not just a title, but a legacy we built for decades. So, kung mapapanood ninyo yung individual interview ni Joey De Leon at Vic Soto sa Tony Talks, mas mauunawaan at mararamdaman ninyo yung hard work and love na ibinuhos nila para sa programang ito. ina-emphasize nila yung long-standing connection that they have with Itbulaga. Like, hindi lang sa trademark or sa pangalan ng programa, but that was their representation of their decades-long work and legacy. So, kumbaga, hindi lang din to trabaho para sa kanila, kundi naging parte na din to sa buhay nila as TVJ. While dito naman sa counter-statement ng Tape Inc., nag-focus sila sa legal aspect. Hina-highlight nila yung mga acquisition rights nila sa Itbulaga and asserting na regardless daw sa historical involvement sa TVJs, yung legal ownership daw is rest with them. Kaya, nung una is ginrant sa kanila ng authority na ipagpatuloy yung show.
For the analysis of collected data, we use the PLUS model. Case 1, for the ABS-CBN shutdown case, ang ethical dilemmas in corporate governance dito is yung political influence in business regulation, media freedom versus government control. Kasi nga, di ba pinag-uusapan dito kung papayagan ba o hindi ng Congress na mag-renew ng franchise yung ABS. Kapag hindi kasi pinayagan, kahit beyond reason naman, lalabas na tinatanggalan sila ng freedom of the press, which is what happened already. Kapag inalaw naman mag-renew, it would seem naman na pinapalampas ng gobyerno yung reports laban sa ABS-CBN. Kaya kahit ano dyan sa dalawa, yung mangyayari, may sisi pa rin sa gobyerno. Umpisa natin sa PLUS model. For the policies, yung order ng NTC raised policy concerns. Kasi ang ganda nga naman ng timing. Nag-resurface yung issue ng prangkisa nung nagkapalitan na ng salita yung ABS-CBN at si Duterte. Yung decision naman ng Congress na hindi i-renew yung franchise, luckily governance policies. Kasi wala naman talagang policy na nagsasabing hindi pwede mag-renew. Nag-decide lang talaga yung Congress while considering those reports against ABS-CBN. Legal standards. Legal naman yung pag-revoke ng franchise. Wala naman tayo masasabi dyan. Pero dahil nga dun sa issue nila kay Duterte, it seems na it was a selective enforcement. Universal values naman, it raised transparency concerns kasi it is an act daw sa side ni Duterte para lang mapatahimik yung mga bumabatikos sa kanya. Kagaya na sabi ko kanina. And self-questionable kasi yung hindi pag-grant ng franchise renewal, it appears as if it is a move by the administration to silence lang yung mga bumabatikos. Kaya mukhang nadaig yung political interest kaysa ethical governance. Overall, the decision to not allow the renewal of ABS-CBN franchise is highly unethical due to selective enforcement and political influence. Case 2. For the POGO ban by PBBM case, the ethical dilemmas in corporate governance are balancing national security with economic stability and government intervention in business. Dito naman, kapag binan yung POGO, mawawala yung crimes linked to POGO. Pero, maapektuhan yung ibang negosyante at empleyado. Kumbaga, maapektuhan yung economic stability. Kapag binabayaan naman ng gobyerno mag-operate yung mga POGO, pati yung illegal POGO, magpapatuloy pa rin, which is a threat to the national security. Para madaling maintindihan, national security over economic stability or economic stability over national security. Okay, plus model naman. Policies. Yung decision na itotal ban yung mga POGO is ethical because it prioritizes the national security. Legal standard. Yung reason naman behind the total ban is in accordance with the anti-money laundering and anti-crime measures. Universal values. It is fair kasi yung pagban is expected to eliminate yung mga criminal activities linked to POGO. Para naman sa kapanan ng marami yung decision na yun eh. Nanaig ang security over fairness to business and workers. Pero in a long-term perspective yon. Okay na rin to sa bansa natin to serve as a reminder sa mga foreign businesses na we do not tolerate those wolves in a sheep's clothing type of business. Overall, it is ethically mixed because it is a right decision for the public interest, but it also has a negative short-term economic impact. Pero short-term lang naman yun. Makakabangon din naman yung mga nawalan ng hanap buhay with the help of the government. So far, the total ban of POGO is a good thing to protect our national security. Mas nanaig yung national security over economic stability.
Case number 3, sa Smartmatic bribery case, umiikot to sa ethical dilemma sa corporate corruption, bribery government contracts at election integrity. Dahil election related to, normal na magduda yung publiko sa credibility ng electoral process. Sa PLUS model policies, malino na paglabag to sa corporate governance policies at procurement rules. Dapat kasi fair at transparent yung bidding sa government contract. Pero sa kasong to, ginamit yung bribery para makuha nila yung kontrata. Sa legal standard naman, ayon sa US Foreign Corruption Practices Act at Philippine Anti anti-corruption laws, illegal yung panunukol sa government officials. Kaya na-indict yung Smartmatic executives sa US dahil sa bribery at money laundering. Next is universal values. Malaki kasi yung epekto sa election integrity at public trust. Kung mismong bidding process is may daya na, paano pa sa election results? So lumalabas na hindi patas yung pagpili ng technology provider. Sa self naman, sa perspective ng public, talo yung public interest. Dapat kasi transparent at legitimate yung nanalo sa kontrata pero naging money-driven yung process. Kaya lumala yung distrust ng electoral process or system at government procurement. And yung Smartmatic bribery case is malinaw na kaso ng corporate corruption na nagdulot ng long-term damage sa public trust at election integrity. Hindi lang sa company yung epekto, pati na rin sa tiwala ng public sa process ng elections.
Tema in corporate governance is failure siya kasi may kinalaman ito sa panloloko kung saan yung mga non-existent employees is patuloy pa rin tumatanggap ng sweldo kahit na hindi naman na sila pumapasok. Ito ay nangyayari dahil sa kakulangan sa pag-check sa mga employees na pumapasok and pwede itong mag-lead sa misuse of public funds. It raises concerns about corruption, dishonesty, and failure in governance in financial institutions. So, sa plus model naman tayo, policies, pinapakita lang rito yung failure sa financial oversight and accountability within the institution. Legal standards, dito naman is yung pagbabayad ng sahod sa mga ghost employees is considered siya as fraud. It breaches the labor laws in the Philippines. Universal values, dito naman is yung transparency and accountability is dapat mahalaga siya sa isang financial institution. Kaya yung scandal na to is nakakasira sa reputasyon ng BSP. Self, ang mga taong involved sa kaso na to ay kulang sa ethical responsibility dahil mas inuna nila ang pansariling interest kaysa sa maging tapat at maayos sa pag-manage ng financial. Ang ethical leadership kasi is dapat transparent sila and accountable na hindi na ipakita sa case ng BSP Ghost Stop Scandal. Overall ethical evaluation dito is unethical siya dahil sa governance failure na nangyari. In summary, the BSP Ghost Stop Scandal revealed corruption and mismanagement within a critical financial institution. Yung payroll fraud is nagdulot siya ng maling paggamit ng pondo ng gobyerno, violation sa labor laws, and dishonesty sa financial reporting. The scandal damaged public trust in the BSP, raising concerns sa credibility ng monetary policy at financial governance. Yung naging results are classified as highly unethical, reflecting a failure in governance and accountability.
So here in Case 5, TVJ versus Tape Inc. trademark dispute case, ang ethical dilemma in corporate governance nila is the corporate ownership rights, intellectual property disputes, and fairness in corporate restructuring. So dahil nga kasi sa pagtatalo sa trademark na yan, humantong sila sa sitwasyon kung saan nagkaroon ng change in leadership and ownership ng programa. So syempre, nag-result ito ng unfair treatment para dun sa mga original na may-ari at mga contributors talaga ng Itbulaga. So, yun yung about sa corporate ownership rights. Tapos yung pag-angkin pa both parties dun sa trademark na Itbulaga, can be considered a violation sa intellectual property rights ng mga talagang original na gumawa nun. Plus, it showed a lack of fairness in corporate restructuring kasi hindi man lang nito isinaalang-alang yung mga karapatan at kapakanan ng mga staff na basta na lang inalis sa programa. So, punta naman tayo dito sa plus model for policies. Inakusahan yung Tape Inc. dito dahil sa hindi patas na pagsunod sa mga business practices. Particular pa na nabanggit yung kanilang paghawak sa branding ng Itbulaga. So, pwedeng ito ay dahil sa hindi patas na pagtrato sa TVJ sa panahon ng negotiation period or contract withdrawal. Sa legal standards, sa TVJ pumabor ang IPOPHL or Intellectual Property Office of the Philippines. Ayon sa legal system is nakitaan daw ng mga shortcomings in the practice ang Tape Inc. Kung kaya yung decision daw na ito is legal precedent on intellectual property ownership in the context of television programs. Dito naman sa universal values, kumbaga kasi yung original host ng Itbulaga, which is yung TVJ, ay hindi nabigyan ng recognition or respect sa kanilang naging contributions sa programa na yon, despite their long and successful careers as hosts. So, walang equality and unfair yung treatment sa mga employees, kaya nag-cause din ng legal issues and misunderstanding sa loob ng kanilang organization. Here naman sa self, so imbes na magkaroon ng ethical fairness, mga pansariling interest yung inuna ng Tape Inc. Overall, ang ethical evaluation is ethically questionable dahil sa corporate maneuver na pagbaliwala ng Tape Inc. dun sa legacy at mga karapatan ng stakeholders. It reflects a lack of ethical behavior. Kaya naman yung issue na to is naging isa sa mga main reason why the case has caused a large ethical dilemma in corporate governance.
Justification of data collection method. Case study method yung ginamit namin dahil kailangan ng mas malalim na analysis sa ethical dilemma sa corporate governance. And hindi lang ito basta reporting ng facts, kundi iniintindi kung paano naaapektuhan yung decision making ng company sa business ethics. Second is reliable and valid yung data dahil galing to sa credible sources tulad ng business reports, legal documents, at peer-reviewed journals. Para maiwasan na din yung bias, nag-cross-referencing kami ng multiple cases to get a full picture, hindi lang one-sided. And sa ethical consideration naman, confidential yung mga sensitive info at lahat ng data is galing sa authorized publicly available sources. And maintain namin yung objectivity, meaning wala kaming kinikilingan. Kumbaga, tanging facts at ethical issues lang yung binigyan pansin namin dito sa analysis na to.
That's all for our today's presentation. God bless and thank you.